Maybe you can relate to this. My day used to begin by me reaching for my phone, to resume my constant search for temporary happiness. Before I could open my eyes properly, I'd be scrolling on Instagram, exposed to the light of a screen when I hadn't even seen the open sky yet. The empty entertainment I consumed would differ, as I switched from Instagram to YouTube, then TikTok, then back to Instagram. You get the idea. After numbing my mind like this for hours, it would be time to eat. Breakfast, the most important meal of the day, at 3 p.m. Instead of something nutritious to benefit my state of mind and body, I would make up a bowl of sugary flakes to feed my need of instant gratification. How lovely. As I settled into the late afternoon, I would relax myself by watching Netflix. I'd usually end up watching something I didn't even like, melting into my chair and becoming even more absent than I already was. The evening would come around and I'd wonder why I felt so low after trying to supposedly relax and ease my brain. Even though, in reality, I'd done absolutely nothing at all, I couldn't get a grasp of why I felt so sad all the time. It's because I was a slave to my impulsive desires. See, in life we can often be drawn to do the easier thing. Unfortunately, doing the easier thing doesn't always help us a whole lot. Choosing to watch TV or a screen all day is normalised, even though people end up damaging their attention spans and internal drive because of these things. I think some of us are getting far too comfortable. If, like me, you live in a first world country, you most likely have access to all different types of food, technology is more widely available, and your nearby towns or cities will have okay to good facilities. The problem is, our world has so many methods of treating ourselves in the most stimulating ways possible. As humans, we have generally always sought pleasure and avoided pain or discomfort. As we know, we receive pleasure through things like food and drink and sleep, and these are necessary for survival. However, now that we have access to so many unhealthy concepts, this survival instinct can be detrimental. These different methods of instant gratification result in frequent dopamine spikes and crashes throughout our day. Every time we think about a desire, the dopamine rises and then crashes after. However, we then raise it again by committing to the act we are thinking about. After, it returns to baseline. However, repetitive bad habits such as drugs and social media use can lead to our baseline lowering over time, meaning it becomes more and more difficult to satisfy ourselves. We can end up chasing the high rather than a better life. It's scary, the way we can be tempted into various addictions which can take control and potentially ruin our lives. This problem is genuine and difficult to overcome. However, if we just cave into our temptations every time, we will never put any energy towards our goals. Although the easier option is less demanding on the mind, there are disciplined people who do not let their brains sabotage themselves. There's a reason we got this far in the first place. As you've probably realised, most humans are not just mindless primates. We are creative, intelligent, and capable in many realms of endeavour. The power of free will and a certain mindset has allowed us to do many great things. Sometimes you may forget that every successful person you know of is just like you. Of course, some may be born into wealthier or poorer families, some may be more or less physically able, but they're all human. They're not God's gift or the chosen ones. An example is David Goggins, a man who used to be obese, who went on to become a Navy SEAL and ultra-marathon runner. Even after many achievements, he states that before he goes out to run 10 to 30 miles, sometimes he'll stare at his shoes for 30 minutes before he puts them on. Whoever you are, you always have a choice. I see it as this: we have a weaker self and a true self. The weaker self keeps us sad and weak, whereas the true self could elevate us to our full potential. It's not easy to be true to yourself. Every time your mind is challenged by a temptation, you'll try to convince yourself to give in, that resisting a bad habit isn't worth it, or that what you're doing isn't that bad anyway. At times like these, you must fight and struggle as much as you can to avoid falling into that trap. Many times you will fail to resist. Most people can't just switch a flip in their brain that means they never indulge in anything negative again. However, try to prioritize long-term goals over short-term pleasure. Eventually, this will build discipline, whereby you gain control and use your mind in ways to benefit your current and future self. Don't be a slave to your brain, and conquer your mind. Once conquered, build on it. When was the last time you challenged yourself to your absolute limits, to see what you are really made of? As horrible as that may sound to some, it could be more beneficial than you can imagine. The type of people that laugh at the gym and exercise but glorify drinking on the weekends are most likely those that will never develop themselves. But you don't have to be like that. You could be someone that you're proud of, someone that you respect. I want you to understand that you are much more capable than you currently think, so have faith that you will build physical and mental strength to become who you want to be. I believe control of the mind is the key to inner peace and success in all ways you can imagine. Humans are capable of so much, yet all these distractions dumb us down to be passive and lost. So start conquering now.